14th Leeds. Okay, I can already hear the sounds of Leeds fans becoming offended.
Oh no, not 14th! From us all Bielsa, for Leeds United, and everything we've been through, 16th!
Right, okay, Leeds fans, let's make a deal. If you end up finishing inside the top half of the table this season, then I promise I will personally get a tattoo of Patrick Bamford playing the violin. Because I know, alright, Marcelo Bielsa is a great coach. Hasn't really won much, but no, he's a good coach. And I know you're a big club, but I'm sorry. Stuart Dallas, Jack Harrison, Paddy Bamford, your squad screams championship standard. I mean, with someone like Declan Rice, I'm upset he's not playing for Ireland. With someone like Jack Grealish, yes, the same. I don't really care about Bamford, considering within 2 years, Troy Parrott's gonna be twice the f***ing player. Lads, Rodrigo is your marquee £27 million signing. For Valencia last season, he scored 4 goals. I'm glad you're back, really I am, and I think you'll have a very good season. But please, you're not getting top half. Where's this delusion that they'll just go back to competing for Europe?
Hello and welcome to HITC Sport and... Let me take you back to last summer. How did you spend your mid-July lockdown last year? Probably watching Sabrina the Teenage Witch reruns was going temporarily insane, right? Me, I spent it praying that Fulham would beat Brentford in extra time of the Championship playoff final. That was my life. In between licking my cat's armpits. You might not think it was a big deal. Oh, what's the problem? Sure, you'll just walk around with Pontus Jansson on your body for life. What's the big deal? What's the big deal? Are we forgetting that mugshot makes him look like someone who's incarcerated for strangling badgers in a local alleyway? Well, that's where I should have left the tattoo bets when Joe Bryant spanked in an extra time free kick, causing me to almost have a mini stroke live on air. That's when I should have stopped gambling with my body. Gambling with my body makes me sound like I work on street corners in a skirt, but that's what it feels like. Right now, go on to the Sky Sports package of that Southampton Leeds game. 95% of the comments are about the goddamn tattoo. And I know this makes me sound like a paranoid nerd who lives with a tinfoil hat on his head, but I'm sorry, I can't help but feel the nerds behind Sky Sports admin account. They just happened to mention that this put Leeds into the top half. I know I'm being paranoid, but I can't help but feel that was a dig at me. But if it wasn't, then whoever uploaded that video, they're probably now very, very confused who or what this Irish guy is. Well, hello? Let's not forget, Sky employ an entire other football channel to do football things. And yet we have just managed to infiltrate the entire channel. I think that is a bit funny, but back into the meat and butter of this story, and this is not funny. This is the end of my life. Tattoos are more of a commitment than marriage. There is no such thing as a divorce for tattoos. There's no such thing as tattoo marriage counselling, where you can work through your problems. No, there's no counselling for having Patrick Bamford on your body for life. And a Patrick Bamford playing the bastard violin. Lads, in 50 years time when I go for my prostate, and when everyone forgets who the hell Bamford is, people are just gonna think that was some violinist who was my boyfriend. But lads, Leeds United, I was so confident last summer that they wouldn't finish in the top half. Yes, I know Marcelo Bielsa was a brilliant coach, but don't you tell me that wasn't a championship squad. So great, Patrick Bamford mostly looked like a stale block of Weetabix every time in the top flight before. Now he's knocking on the door of the England squad. I'm furious, I'm actually furious. Go back to early November. They conceded 4 goals at Crystal Palace and were 15th of the league just a month away from Christmas. I thought I was safe. But their form since mid-March has been utterly sickening. This was a Leeds team who were supposed to be burnt out by Easter. Instead, 1 defeat in 10 games. None of Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, Man United or Spurs have been able to beat them during that run. This is ridiculous, but you know what? Fair play, Leeds. Well done, and I've already rang up the local tattoo parlors. I've never been in one, but I can only assume they smell of whiskey, sweat and bad decisions. And they've given me a date of Monday, August the 2nd, so great! We get to see Paddy P in time for the new season. It's going to be the worst day of my life. Anyway, what else has happened? Roy Hodgson has left Crystal Palace. I'm sorry, I don't want to be ageist here, but if you've been alive since World War II, then you shouldn't be stuck in a dugout on a Saturday evening, screaming at Tyreek Mitchell to clear the ball. You should instead be tucked up in a cozy bed, playing Pictionary with the wife and trying not to lose control of your bowels. To be fair, Hodgson took over a Crystal Palace team who wasn't able to score, and back in late 2017, the man was seen as a footballing joke. But yes, another excellent job at Sellers Park has restored his reputation, but make no mistake about it, if he had retired after the Iceland meltdown in 2016, then right now Hodgson will be seen as a bumbling clown who thinks it's a good idea to put centre forwards and corner kicks. So fair play Hodgson for restoring some credibility. And to be fair, you've always been a top manager at Premier League level, but apparently the favourite to replace him in the dugout is Frank Lampard. You know, a fella 3 decades younger than him. And I'm sorry, but if Crystal Palace actually offer a deal to Lampard, then Steve Parish, do you have rotten scrambled egg between your ears? I'm not saying Lampard is a bad coach, he isn't. Clearly he proved at Derby County, even at Chelsea, that he is competent. But I'm pretty sure right now his motivation for football management is lying scattered across the sewer pipes. The guy already said back in 2016 that all he wanted was the Chelsea job. Well, he had the Chelsea job, and by Roman Abramovich's ridiculously high standards, he was pretty damn mediocre at it. And so naturally, the club hierarchy just forgot about his legend status and instead treated him as if he was just some idiot who spent his afternoons sticking crayons up his nose. But when you've already achieved your dream job, when you've already reached the pinnacle at 42, then where do you go from there? Downgrade to Crystal Palace? What is the point? It's like being divorced by the woman of your dreams, and then you catch her romancing the German postman behind a Tesco car park who has since neglected your kids and pets. Good Christ, a poor old Tammy Abraham is a puppy. Tuchel right now will probably be feeding him bowls of newspaper and locking him in a shed. Listen, I know Crystal Palace is a decent club, but Lampard living in London was used to the royal blue of Chelsea. You know, living in a swanky West London flat. So now dragging him to Croydon and giving him Christian Benteke up front, telling him to coach the likes of James McCarthy, a fella whose liver was made of actual cheese. Sure, he's mates with Gary Cahill, but where else is the draw? Is it simply to have something to do other than clip his toenails on the couch? Honestly, Lampard has proved he's a decent coach, but I guarantee you, after a crippling end to his Chelsea legacy, he's not going to be motivated to have his first relegation battle since 2001. What else? Harry Kane now wants to quit Spurs, and I'm sure Tottenham fans right now must be feeling like ripping off their own nipples and feeding them to the cat. Kane isn't the best player in the league, but without a doubt, he is the most irreplaceable one. Lads, make no mistake about it, Tottenham fans would rather you take their eyes than Harry Kane. That club is ridiculously dependent on the man, to an almost crippling degree. To think this club used to arrogantly loan him out to Leighton Orient, Millwall and Norwich. Daniel Levy, that's like the village drunk borrowing your wife for a weekend. It's just ridiculous. These loan moves, even benching him to prioritise Roberto Soldado in 2013, the club was gambling with the most lucrative, expensive and arguably best footballer they ever had. I've seen some people say,
Oh, he's not worth 150 million because of his age.
because of his age, as he's 27. Okay, yeah, he turns 28 in July, but so? He's not exactly on the verge of buying false teeth, forgetting his name and weeing in the sink, now is he? He's a fit and healthy young man. Yeah, he's got the hairline of an 84-year-old granddad, but so did Bobby Charlton in his 20s and he turned out okay. He's the modern day Alan Shearer. And let's see, Shearer turned 28 in August 1998, and after that birthday, he continued to score 171 goals for a club like Newcastle. Some seasons he was forced to rely on service from Nicky Butt and Charles Nzogbia. I'm sorry, but if you're waiting for Nzogbia to clear the ball, you're going to be waiting until you're dead. So Shearer netted nearly 200 goals in the latter half of his career. He surpassed the 20 goal mark 5 times and was only just 1 short in 2004. Even in his last season, where his knees were begging for mercy, he was still a reliable 15 goal a season striker. Kane is that man's modern day equivalent. And so you're damn right he'd be worth a big fat move. Last summer, Chelsea spent a combined 130 million on 2 Bundesliga gambles. Man United just rolled the dice on a £40 million lottery ticket from the Eredivisie, but with Kane, there is no element of risk at all. You give him the ball and he scores. Right now, Man City, Chelsea and Man United have all been inquiring about him. Let's be honest, Chelsea have about as much chance of enticing Harry Kane to the club as I do growing a second scrotum on my face. Not only would he prefer not to risk his legendary status at Spurs with a move to one of the most hated rivals, but he's done with scrapping for the top 4. No, the man wants to win the Premier League title. And yes, I know they're in the Champions League final this year, but they're not going to get to it every year. They already tricked Eden Hazard about that once in 2012, and it's taken them nearly a decade to get back there. Yes, a move to Man United might be appealing for the history of the club. He could be the last piece in the jigsaw, but if you are Kane, you're done with buying into projects. You just want guaranteed silverware. This is a bona fide world-class striker whose silverware collection you could probably fit into a half-empty Cheerios box. But if Man City table a club record bid for Kane, he's going to want to move heaven and earth to play under Pep Guardiola. And imagine our front line of Phil Foden, Kane and Raheem Sterling will be marketed in this country. It'll be seen as the English dream. Maybe then he can knock past Sterling on a weekly basis. But for City, if you're serious about this, don't let this be like the Lionel Messi story last year where you sniffed his face once and left. If you want Kane, then just hurry up and quickly table a big fat massive bid. Unsettle the club out of the Euros, have it playing on his mind for weeks. If you want the man, just go and get him. Apparently Erling Haaland and Mino Raiola want £1 million per week. Thankfully, Kane doesn't live on planet Zog. And yes, while he'll probably demand upwards of £350,000 per week, he won't exactly demand you dig up another oil reserve in Saudi Arabia just to keep him happy. Actually, if this move does happen, I can only assume Rory Delap's poor son will be in danger of sticking his ears in a microwave. Anyway, that's it. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments if you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.